welcome to the Difference Is You show. We've got a very special guest here today. I might even say, one of the biggest influences in my life recently is the On Asian Hustle Network, what we call On AHN. This is the founder here, Bryan. Um, Bryan, why don't you take a gander and introduce yourself? I think you know yourself better than I do.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on the show today. So my name is Brian. I'm one of the founders of Asian Hustle Network, along with my co-founder Maggie. So about myself, I had my career track is super weird because when I graduated college back in 2010, I was a software engineer from UC Irvine,
Oh,
and my career has always been really interesting because when I graduated, I was like peak recession. It's really hard to find a job, kind of like how the pandemic situation is playing out right now. So
mm-hmm.
for all you college graduates right now, I completely understand what you're going through, but always keep your head up. The light is always at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
And when I worked at my first couple of jobs, I happened to join companies that weren't doing so well at the time. So they're just doing like massive layoffs, and that really affected like my mentality to hustle because I'm like, man, I studied so hard in engineering to get to this point, and seeing my mentors who are like eons better at coding than
Mm-hmm.
me get laid
Mm-hmm.
off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, I can't trust corporate anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
need to hustle. I
Yeah.
need to have I hustle.
All
So I'm
right.
always scared. And then flash forward, I got into selling stuff on Amazon, did really horribly, got a job again as a software engineer, and then became really unhappy. As I got more
Mm.
unhappy, I looked at other alternatives, like what else can I do with my time? And I got into real estate investing, which I
Mm.
absolutely love.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about real estate is that it freed up my time to work on projects that I truly care about.
Okay.
And I started to learn the true value of money. The value of money is not to be rich, but to free your time. So you
Mm.
yourself can pursue things that you care about. And
Mm.
that's for myself, helping other people, helping the Asian community, and creating Asian Hustle Network as a result.
Damn. But you know what, man? I've listened to. I don't want to say all of them. But I did go through a couple of them. Because, like, once you sent me that list, Brian, I'm like, well, damn, man. I do not. I want to do my best not to like repeat questions that you really just like. Well, damn, I've answered this question 10 times. But I love that intro, man. I feel like you've practiced that answer, and it sound that. That's one of my favorite ways you've ever put it, man. And it really speaks to me, and I'm guessing and I'm hoping it speaks to the other hustlers that may or may not be watching this. But man, I never put it that way in my head. The value of money is to free up your time, and that allows you to help other people, which leads to the Asian Hustle Network. So great intro, man. If the audience hears another voice on the line, it's my producer, Peter Huynh, who incidentally I met in the Asian Hustle Network, and we've gone on a couple business ventures together behind the scenes. Peter is taught me how to network. Actually, I'm an introvert, and Peter is like the most genius networker that I've ever met through the Asian Hustle Network. My last guest, William Hung, I met through the Asian Hustle Network, and just tons of great people. And I've literally met more people through on in the last 30 to 60 days than I've met in the last 10 years of my life, not even exaggerating. And I give all the thanks to you and Maggie, who I wish to have on the show at some point, and I actually really one of the questions I'm gonna hop around. I have a whole list of questions, and I don't care if we get to them because rather just have it be a natural conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
Maggie, correct me if I'm wrong, recently quit her job from DocuSign, right?
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a big household decision. Can you talk about that? Did she consult you, or was she just like, "Hey, Brian, I'm quitting"? How did that happen? Yeah.
It was actually me kind of pushing her to quit
Wow.
because I
Okay.
feel like because I see how unhappy she is at her job, and I
Wow.
see
Yeah.
that she puts in really really long hours. Like she'll
Yeah.
work from like 6 a.m. to like 2 a.m. almost every day for like
Wow.
4 months. And I look at her and it tears my heart because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
she's still my co-founder. She's my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and I tell her that let's free up your time. Like
Yeah.
whatever we need to do in order to prepare for your time to be free, let's do it.
All right.
And when it came time to pull the trigger, it wasn't that hard
Yeah.
for her to pull the trigger. It's more like, okay, how can we utilize her time better now to better serve the community?
Okay.
Because you're really putting that abundance mindset to test. Like okay, if you truly care about your community and helping other people, is it true that money will come to you? So it's still too soon. She's only been quitting her job the last three weeks or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We're still testing out that theory, but our
Yeah.
heart's in the right place
Of
because
course.
AHN is definitely taking up like a huge chunk of our time almost on a daily basis.
I can imagine, man. And and there's this word that I think there's a lot behind it. The abundance, man. I might have read it in a book or two. Talk about that. What does that mean? Where do you get that word
Yeah.
from? Is there a book or and yeah, tell me about the abundance mindset.
Yeah, the abundance mindset is almost in every single improvement book that you read. Like
Yeah.
you're just gonna see that word over and over.
Right.
But I don't. But few people really understand what it truly means. The
Yeah.
abundance mindset is like you go into an opportunity thinking that it's gonna work out. And the reason why I adopted an abundance mindset is because when I lost a lot of money through Amazon, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I was just really depressed. And I was like, oh, I'm never gonna make this money back. And you keep spiraling down a very defeated path that things are not gonna work out.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came into real estate, I realized that I needed to lose the scarcity mindset and adopt more abundance mindset. Because one, I need to sleep. If I lose like $50, I'll with the scarcity mindset, I probably wouldn't sleep.
Mm.
I'm just really like still tight with money because
Mm-hmm.
given the recession and stuff, when we graduate college is just a horrible time, and just holding on to money has always been my weakness.
Mm.
It's only until that I became more loose with that
Mm.
that I started to see more opportunities around me, even
Wow.
though things were looking really grim. you
Yeah.
know. And as I start seizing these opportunities, I actually cover, if not made more money by having a more abundance mindset than
Wow.
just dwelling on my own losses.
Wow. And now I'm sure some of the hustlers are right. Like, well, okay, that sounds great, but this all sounds like theory. Is there like a specific example you might be willing to share? What is like an opportunity that came to you by having this mindset in the real estate game or
Yeah.
any other game that you've been playing?
Yeah. I mean, with Amazon, I lost $22,000 as a
Oh
22
my,
year old,
Damn,
damn.
a lot of
and that
money.
sucks.
Yeah.
But in real estate, my first deal, I made almost $200,000.
Wow.
Ooh,
So it's just having the abundance mindset and keep looking out for opportunities. And when you think that number of money that you lost is a big amount, it's always relative to what you think is possible.
Mm.
Once you can move past that and not dwell in it too much. Yeah, dwell in it sucks. I don't let it repeat itself, but
Mm-hmm.
don't let that be the reason why you keep spiraling down a negative path, a negative
Mm-hmm.
mindset.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, and I'm sure this has evolved and it will evolve day by day, month by month, week by week. But as in its current version, what is on and who is it for?
Yeah, so its current version right now, we are for the Asian community, but we're
Yeah.
not inclusive. It's just Asian community. We're open
Yeah.
to everyone.
Yeah.
And we truly exist because we want to uplift and support the Asian community. Just be in business, be in tech, being in corporate. I always see, and from my personal experience, how underrepresented we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I see myself and my coworkers who are Asian get passed up for promotions over and over,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like as an ethnic group, as a group collectively, as a community, we are just as talented as anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not provided the opportunity?
mm,
And having Asian Hustle Network, when you talk to other tech CEOs out there who are Asian, one of the main reasons why they're CEO of their own company is because they weren't given the opportunity in their current company to become CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And that part really resonated with me. And on top of that, I feel like with the Asian community, we're always so rooted in competition.
Mm.
Like just growing up, I'm in
Yeah.
competition, my brother, my sister,
Yeah.
my cousins, and whatnot.
yeah,
That
definitely.
we don't really have the willingness to help each other and support each other.
Mm.
And I wanted to change that. I wanted us to really be vulnerable with each other and truly help each other out. Because
Mm.
I know that it's so rooted in our culture to be nice, be polite.
Yeah.
So how can we get that going for our own community?
It's amazing, man. And I see that not just from your words, but that what's actually happening in the Facebook group. And I know it's grown beyond the Facebook group, but a lot of the magic happens in the Facebook group. It's not a big
Mhm.
surprise. Everybody has Facebook. It's very low friction, and and I'm day by day. I mean, I'm probably one of the biggest trolls on your group. Okay. And I'm like, and so I'm like always, I have ADD and like, insomnia. I'm just like always like, oh, who's posting what, right? But I am thoroughly amazed day by day at who I see in there. Sometimes I know that name. What about you? Has there been anybody that you've been like, wow, this guy's in my group? Like, what?
Yeah, it's I think almost everyone I meet and get an opportunity to talk to, I'm always really amazed with what they bring to the table.
Yeah, yeah.
It may not be like they're the richest or they're the most famous one, but
Mm-hmm.
they always have a unique perspective that when I talk to them, I'm like, whoa, I never really thought of it that way. That's a really good idea. You
Yeah.
know, so,
And I recently saw this 22-year-old girl that looks like she's like a seasoned Disney artist. I'm just like, wow, every time someone
Ariana
is that her
or
name?
Ariane,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm just
yeah,
like the different kinds of people that go in there and tell their story, and then just the group page is like a cool book in itself. Someone just wanted to whichever side you want to start from in the middle, go to the beginning of time and read. If you're bored, I'm telling you, you will become not bored, and you will never run out of things to do with almost 70,000 members now and counting. And
mhm,
yeah, I know last year you guys got featured. Was it in the LA Times?
yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
We
And
got
you
featured early times.
okay? And was that pretty cool? Like, I'm gonna have to guess yes. Like,
It was really cool. I mean, it was so recent. I think we created a group like a month, and
yeah.
like LA Times reached out to us and be like, "Hey, can we feature you guys? We think you
Mm-hmm.
guys have a really strong mission statement."
Yeah,
And that really validated our idea
yeah,
and the need for the Asian community. But since then, we got featured in a lot more different
yeah.
articles, outlets. But that was like the main kicker for us to like
Cool.
legitimate to make
Yeah,
us legit.
yeah. And so from there, I had read somewhere. I think it was probably that article or in other places that like you just had. It's good to set goals. You're like, we want to get to a million members, but has anything
Mm-hmm.
changed? I don't doubt that you will get there, but is that like that top of mind, or are there other things,
Yeah.
or like yeah, like what is
So at one point, we realized that we are growing too quickly,
mm-hmm.
and we were becoming victims of our own success.
Okay.
Like we didn't really have the manpower to sort of keep up with all the messages and comments. Like our inboxes would get between like 100 to 200 per day,
Mm-hmm.
and this was creating a severe mental health issues for most of my team members and
Oh,
myself. We
wow.
couldn't really keep up with the amount. So we're still setting up the infrastructure to continue growing that big again.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why we stopped promoting it as much because we're just growing too quickly. We can't maintain the quality of the group, and the quality of the group is more important to us than the number itself.
Wow, amazing answer, man. Because I like to say good problems to have. Like, at what company do you find complaint? Oh, we're growing too fast. Marketing, slow things down, right? What company out there is saying that today, right? So, thank you for sharing that, man. Because I wasn't expecting that answer, really. I mean that's why I asked the questions. But it's really awesome to
Mhm.
hear that. That someone in this market has experienced too much growth. Slow it down, guys. Stop, please. Never been at I do marketing, so I'm like, wow, I wish I had that problem at some point in my life. I'll be able to say that, hey, marketing director, take a couple weeks off. We're growing a little bit too fast.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I always like come up with weird random questions, right? But have you ever thought about, okay, if there was no on, what would you be doing now? And how, I'm sure you would feel like something's missing in your life, right? But where do you think you'd be if there was no Asian Hustle Network?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, without on, it'd be pretty sad because
Yeah.
growing up, like things that really got me through the tough times was listening to other people's story through
Yeah.
your podcast. Or I was a huge fan of like Humans of New York, so I keep
Mm.
like reading
Oh,
stories about people.
Awesome.
and I love CNN's Great Big Story.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came time for me to, form AHN, I based it upon stuff that gave me a lot of comfort during
Mm.
the toughest times.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like sources and inspiration that we pull from.
Mm-hmm.
But without AHN, I was forming a real estate community in the Bay Area
Okay.
called Crushing It in Real Estate. And that community was in person, it's not virtual. It grew to over 2,000 members in
Okay.
less than a year.
Yeah.
So a lot of the foundation that I got from Asian Hustle Network was from forming these not online, but in-person
Mm-hmm.
real estate communities.
Mm-hmm.
Where I remember like my first event, I had 3 people come out, then I had six, and then I had 12, and then I had
Wow.
15. And
Wow.
Yeah.
at my peak, I was having hundreds of people come out to my real estate
Wow.
event,
Wow.
and that made me feel really good,
Wow.
But at the same time, I still saw the lack of Asian representation in real estate as well, and that always resonated with me to like give back to the Asian community using what I like and what I learned so far. And
Wow.
pretty blessed to be in a position where my theories and hypotheses proved to be correct,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all like trial and error pretty much.
That's crazy, and I've heard some of these answers before, and so it's like when you tell them again, I'm like okay, like I've heard you say that the humans in New York and the CNN's Great Big Story, and because I've heard these a couple times, I'm like I gotta go check that out if that's what inspired. Like if you're gonna, if there's something that you mention multiple times, like that must have a lot of meaning because you keep bringing
Mhm.
these things up,
Yeah, you
and
should follow them on Instagram, guys.
yeah,
You
yeah.
definitely get a lot of daily inspiration from that.
Good.
And let's not underestimate the how difficult it is to organize in-person things. Like
Mhm.
as to what's a greater achievement, a 70,000 person Facebook group or a 100 or 2,000 person. I would give you more credit for that in-person thing because it's like to get someone out of their house, for like a net, like damn man, man, kudos to you. And then my producer Peter, who you guys can hear if he says something, Peter does a similar thing in that he organizes a hiking event or a hiking group in the COVID time. I don't know what kind of magic Peter does, but he gets people to go hiking even during COVID. And so I'm impressed by both of you guys. I'm learning from both of you guys as you're doing things. Um,
Yeah, Peter, tell us about that. You can be so quiet. We introduced you already.
Yeah, I'm kind of shy. Sorry, guys. Well, I was kind of a loner back in a few months ago, and I was really like I was in a hard time, just like kind of like suicidally depressed and stuff. And I just felt that I hit rock bottom, and I wanted to change in my life. And I felt that I could be a good leader because I saw other groups, and I felt like I could do it better than them, maybe. And I just really like care about my members, and we're just trying to like I really believe in growth mindset and just trying to like live life to its fullest, So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
yeah,
but you went to UCI, right? I didn't know that, Ryan.
Zaza?
That's dude. So I was like a
Yeah,
bio
I'm
major
terrified.
back in the day. So because I was like class of 2012.
Okay.
So
The
yeah,
overlap for sure.
yeah. I just I wanted to know like what's your like favorite memory there?
My favorite memory. To be honest, it's been so long ago that I can't remember much, but I used to love hanging out on top of Turtle Rock in
Oh
Irvine.
yeah,
And I used to sit there at like 1 or 2 a.m. to start pondering like what I want to do with my life, where my life is going.
yeah.
And I used to hang out by the beach too, like at really late times. That's when I have my deepest thoughts, and I just go out, get some fresh air, and just always been really reflective most of my life.
That's awesome. So, are you a big like nature lover then?
I am, but I'm also allergic to like 99% like everything that's nature. Like I have crazy allergies,
Okay.
crazy allergic reactions.
Oh
I
no.
do love hiking though, but
Yeah.
every time I hike, I always pay for the consequences. I get a
Oh,
rash or I sneeze all day.
dude.
well, I have a whole list of because granted I didn't listen to all your podcasts, but I listened to a few of them, and it was if people want to get to know like on and stuff, I'll leave some links. I'll link to every podcast that I know of the description, right? I want to maybe talk about some things you haven't talked about. Maybe
Mhm.
get to know, who is Brian? Who is the guy behind on, right? Or and then hopefully maybe I can interview Maggie at a later date. But what are some of your hobbies? You said hiking was the one, but you pay the price. Tell us some of your
Mhm.
other random hobbies. I know you don't have free time, but if you had some free time, what would you be doing? Gaming, anything?
Mm, I'm not really much of a gamer. I
Mm-hmm.
tried being a gamer, but I've realized I have no talent for gaming.
Same.
As I'm dying like the first 5 moves, I'm like, dude, I can't game for crap. So other hobbies. So growing up, my parents wanted me to be a basketball player so I can be super tall. They wanted me to play soccer, but they quickly realized that anything with a big ball, I suck. I can't shoot for shit. I can't kick for shit.
Yeah.
I can't run that fast. So they realized that, how can we still make our kid really tough?
Yeah.
So they really introduced me to like martial arts,
Okay.
wrestling, really
Okay.
combat sports.
Yeah.
I fell in love with wrestling. I
Okay. Oh,
wrestled throughout
what?
my entire high school career, a
What? Okay.
couple years in college as
Wow,
well.
in college, man, that can't be easy. Like college is the next level. Yeah.
And that really taught me a really strong mindset, never to give up,
Yeah.
and just believe in the journey and all that fun stuff. So that's like my main hobby.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, I'm a pretty avid reader.
Mm-hmm.
I think I try to hit 100 books each year, like the past 5 years.
I heard you say that, man. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy for someone like me. I mean, maybe not for people that read, but no, that's awesome that you do that.
yeah.
I had this question for the end, but since you bring it up, what are some of your book recommendations? There's so many, probably. Why don't we, for hustlers, for aspiring young hustler, what would be like your,
Yeah,
your top few book recommendations?
I love if you're a hustler, a young hustler. I love Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's a really
Okay.
good book. He really discusses like his challenges as an entrepreneur for Nike.
Uh-huh.
Oh, oh,
And it's crazy to see how Nike was struggling so much in the
Wow.
early days, and how
Okay.
it originally became was a side hustle and a hobby project.
What?
It's really cool.
It was his side
Um,
hustle. So Nike was a side hustle. Wow. I didn't know that.
I think Phil Knight used to be an accountant or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he
oh,
started
wow,
Nike.
crazy.
Yeah,
Dude, nice.
yeah, that's one of my favorite books. Obviously, I love real estate books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, the
Okay.
basic ones. Not really hustle related. I really like the book Educated by Tara Westover.
Okay.
That's a really, really good book as well. And right now I'm reading Obama's new book, The
Okay.
Promised Land,
Oh,
which is okay. I mean, it gives you an idea of how he thinks as president,
Okay.
but it doesn't really dive deep into like self improvement or self discovery.
Okay. All right. What about music? You into K-pop or what does Brian listen to, during the
EDM?
day?
um, hopefully you guys don't laugh, but
Oh,
right now I've been listening to a lot of old school DDR music when I'm reading.
dude, wait, really? DDR? I love DDR.
Yeah,
Dude, yeah, I mean
yeah.
that's I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I
Uh,
never got
like,
into to the
was
yeah,
it
but
the butterfly song or like the Max
uh,
300?
I listen to all of it because I can't
What?
listen to stuff where it's
Wait,
like a lyric, because I just
yeah.
end up daydream muscling random as I'm reading. Like, damn it, I need to listen to something that's like upbeat where I'm awake,
Uh,
but also brings
oh,
up the feels because I used to play a lot of DDR as a kid.
whoa. Oh my God. You play a
Yeah,
round one. There's a round one in the Bay Area. That's super fun. Like,
yeah, yeah. I
did
used
we,
to try to do like max 300 and like DDR.
yes. Yes.
Yeah,
We got to play sometime, dude. Once it opens up.
I'm
no,
so
I'm
I'm so
like
glad
really
I
out of
have
shape.
Peter here because I don't
Come
relate to DDR at
on,
all.
come. We want to
Dance by
play.
revelation.
Dude, I used to work in San Jose for like 2 years, and I would go to the round one like once a week to play.
It's such a great stress reliever and it helps you lose
Yeah,
weight.
yeah.
Talking about losing weight, I mean, well, I guess we'll jump around here. I'm into fitness, man. I don't know if you've seen any of. I mean, you probably have. I posted a couple of them.
You seem like a really strong guy, man.
I'm not. I'm really pretty lazy. It's all just for show. I'm like, maybe it's good genetics. I don't know. Look. I grew up as a chubby Asian kid, so in my head, I'm always that chubby Asian kid. And unless I show you guys the picture, no one really believes me. But since we're talking about fitness, man, what's been your fitness journey? Do you have your wrestler? You had already mentioned that. Are you working?
Yeah.
What's COVID been like? What are the gyms open? Because they're shut down in LA. I don't know about in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a really big gym fanatic, like really big, like spending like 4 or 5 hours at the gym every day for like 5 years straight, you know?
Damn.
And I realized like my body couldn't keep up anymore. It's like I started getting injured. My joints starting to hurt. So I kind of slowed it down a lot. But I
Hmm.
think because I worked out so much in my early 20s, I sort of laid a foundation right now. So I realized that I don't have to go that heavy to get the body that I want again.
Hmm.
It's, the hardest part right now is like dieting. It's like I need to eat the right things, otherwise like blow up like a balloon. Like,
I feel
damn,
you.
the metabolism is really showing.
Like I know you just hit 30, right? So you might feel like an old guy, but I have 7 years on you. I'm closer to 40 than 30 now.
Oh
So
man, I'm 31.
you're
You got six
31.
years on me.
And then guy, if the I just realized I don't have unlimited if I have more than one person. So if the timer runs out, I'm just gonna send you guys a new link and we can hop back on for the remaining 20 minutes or whatever. Okay. So
Mhm.
and maybe I'll cut that part out, maybe I won't, whatever. Um Okay, so how about a favorite movie, Brian? Doesn't have to be hustle related, okay? Just it could
Oh
be a chick, it
man.
could be a chick flick, all right? Don't be, and I'll cut it out. If it's too embarrassing, you could tell me to cut this part out.
Actually, I don't know. I haven't really watched movies that much or TV that often.
Damn, so
Uh,
just straight reader here.
yeah, yeah. I'm not much of a movie guy, to be honest.
All right,
That's
we'll skip that one. How about, and I do have to bring up K-pop again. Not that you like it or don't like it, but if you do, what's your favorite K-pop song? If you don't have anything to say about K-pop, what are your views on how it affects Asians now?
No, I love it. I love K-pop.
Okay.
I used to listen to a lot of Big Bang, like
oh
Blue or
Okay.
Haru Haru by
Uh-huh.
Big Bang. Those are
Uh,
my favorite OG K-pop songs. But when I turn on the radio now, I hear BTS,
yeah.
yeah.
the Dynamite song. It's like keeps playing over and over. I'm like, all right, cool. It's cool. I like it. You know, I'm gonna listen to this when I read now.
Man, I hope no BTS fanboys or fangirls listen to it because they're gonna be hating. Like, what did you just say? It's okay, you know. Um, do you know this guy, this Asian guy called Dimash? Never mind, guys. But please, if you do get curious and you're like, who's this Dimash guy? Please film your reaction. I would be dying to see your first reaction to Dimash. Anyway, he's this really popular singer out of Asia. Sings more opera stuff, so that's why he doesn't care about pop music. But anyways, I'll moving on. All right. I know you're from my area. When I say my area where I live, I'm from Texas, but I live in the San Gabriel Valley now. I found out from stalking your other podcast episodes, where you're from, where you grew up, and what is your favorite either Chinese or Asian food restaurant in this area?
Oh, well, the most basic thing to say is I like Din Tai Fung.
Oh,
Yeah. And is that the
Everybody
one
likes Din
in
Tai Fung.
Arcadia, or do you have a specific one that you go
I
to?
like the original one, Arcadia,
Okay,
before it
Arcadia.
closed down.
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know it
Um,
closed down. I've been there like over
yeah,
10 years
the
ago though.
original, the first one closed down.
Okay.
But I really love Golden Deli. Like I
Golden
Oh,
every
Dog. That's
time
a pho restaurant like on Main Street, right?
yeah, they're both
Yeah.
on Las Tunas,
Well,
on the
Las
San
Tunas.
Gabriel way
Yeah,
to South
yeah.
City one.
That you answered my question. I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite pho restaurant? You're Vietnamese, right? Is that the last name?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Vietnamese. I don't necessarily eat pho there. I always get the beef over rice
Beef over
with
rice.
with,
Okay.
with eggs. It's so with big eggs. It's so good.
All right.
oh,
I'm gonna have that. I can't say I've had that. I've been there for pho many times, but
Mhm.
because you recommended it, I'm gonna have that next time.
Yeah.
I did want to I just have random notes, man. I did want to ask you about your daily journaling and where that came from, and would you recommend this as I don't know what category I would put it under, but I kind of had it under like managing your time,
Mhm.
because trying to learn from you, man. So I was like, hey, this guy journals. I only learned this like a few days ago, so I can't say I've put it into practice now, but I think I want to start doing it if you would recommend that.
Yeah, I would totally recommend that. I started this habit back in sophomore year of high school. And the reason why I started this habit was because I was really unhappy with myself. I didn't like the person I was becoming, and I didn't really necessarily had any dark or suicidal thoughts, but I
Mm-hmm.
just really didn't like the person I was becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a lot of insecurities about my study habits because I'm most surrounded by really, really smart people.
Mm-hmm.
That just made me feel really insignificant. But at the same time, I couldn't really talk to anyone about it because then they see me as, being weak or being soft. And keep in mind, I was like 14 or 15 at the time.
Mm.
Jeez,
And
yeah.
for me to be able to deal with these type of stress without talking to my parents, I wrote them down in my journal, and I would just free flow,
Wow.
and without any structure too. Like I would just write almost every other day in my journal as a sophomore, and that habit sort of stuck with me. As I grew older, I started to read self development books, and that taught me to become more aware of my habits. So I started switching gears and just being this depressed kid to now that I have a habit of writing, how can I use that to become more aware?
Mm.
So I will write down things I want to improve upon and use my journal just to keep myself accountable.
You know, I
As I grew older.
yeah, yeah, man, damn, that's powerful. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with Jordan Peterson at all?
It sounds familiar.
He's this
Yeah.
motivation guy that I mean, he's big if you follow him, but if you don't hear of him, maybe not. But he said the same thing, man. Like, I don't know if you're a natural introvert, but I literally just watched one of his videos, and he said that as an introvert, and he writes as a way to organize his thoughts, and that kind of just resonated what you just said. Like sometimes your subconscious is feeling these things, and then you don't really know what's going until you write it out. Does that kind of sound like what you just said?
Yeah. Because I feel like most of the time we know the answers ourselves, but because we're so busy with our day-to-day lives, our thoughts are often confused or forgotten,
Mm,
and you can't remember, and you just end up in square one because you never really sat down to really think about what you've been thinking about.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, as soon as you put down your thoughts from pen to paper, it all makes a lot of sense of what you really want.
Wow.
So you save yourself a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotional stress.
Mm,
And deep down inside, you know what you need to do, you know, and your subconscious mind knows how to get there.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like it may not know the answer, but I'll tell you how to get there. Oh, I want to get to this goal. I have to learn this. I want to get to this goal. I have to talk to this person. You
Mm.
know, like you know what you need to do to succeed. Most people
Yeah.
just don't act on it, and not or some cases are not aware of that.
Dang, man, if I wasn't convinced before that, I think you might have just talked me into like I'm a writer, man, and I'll blog and things, but sometimes it's like, well, like there's that private thought that things that you would never say publicly. And when you say write, are you actually like literally handwriting this journal, or is it like
Yeah,
a Google
yeah.
Doc, or
Old
I'm
school.
so you're
handwriting. I'm a big
Oh,
handwriter.
that's cool,
Um,
dude.
Whatever you feel like it's comfortable for you. Except for me, I love the feeling like flipping back the page. And it
mm,
just makes me feel like I'm moving on day by day.
yeah,
That time is moving on.
yeah,
And
it's
it's more of
crazy.
a symbolic thing for me. It's like, oh, how much have I grown over this much time? You know?
You can see your progress in the book, right?
Exactly.
Like literally, like in the Word doc, it's just like one page, you know.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
Um,
at page 2000. Is that good or
yeah, I know, right?
bad?
Um, let me do this. Let me send you guys another link, and then we'll just do the rest for the next 20 minutes on the new link, because
Okay,
I forgot that once you add another person, you don't get unlimited Zoom. I'm
Oh,
on the yeah. All right, so I'm gonna end it and just send you guys a new link real quick, okay?
okay, cool. Bye.
Cheap ass cheap ass Zoom here. Woo. Show uh, show people how the true hustler runs his meetings, all right? Oh man, so I'm gonna go ahead and entertain the audience right now. Um, Thank you guys for sticking with us. Oh, here we go. Peter came in. Peter's back. and Bryan should be joining us shortly. Thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. This guy here is not gonna pay for Zoom, okay? I can't hear you, Peter.
Oh,
Oh,
here you go.
oh, it was me. It was my
Oh,
bad. I didn't have my audio.
awesome.
So Peter, as we entertain the audience during this intermission here, how do you feel so far, man? How do you like the episode so far?
Yeah, good, man. I'm just letting you guys do your thing. So
Yeah.
it's going well. So I don't want to like interfere with the flow, too much.
Dang, man, I might if he doesn't come back on, man,
Oh,
I might have to
that's
cut this part out
that,
until
that's
he
cool.
gets.
No worries, dude. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was right. I mean,
No, no,
we
I didn't get to. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I want to ask him about some books too because I
All
want to
right.
talk about Alchemist. So, but
Here we go. And thanks for hanging with us during the intermission, everybody. In true hustle fashion, this is how we do podcasts when we can't pay for things that we want to pay for. All right. This is how you get around the 40-minute Zoom time limit. Just send them another link. Don't have to pay for things. No money.
The true hustle mindset right there.
So,
yeah.
Peter had a question for you.
Oh, so yeah, I'm kind of big on audiobooks, and I just finished the Alchemist recently. Have you read that one?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's a really short book, like really,
Yeah,
really fast. Yeah.
yeah. There was one that I took some quotes. I guess I just want to read one of them that I thought was really important. There's only one way to learn. It is through action. Everything you have learned through your journey. They were seeking the treasure of their destiny without wanting to actually live out that destiny. So
Yeah, I feel like I subconsciously live by that quote. When I
yeah,
read that quote, I remember reading the quote. I'm like, "Huh, this is a really cool quote."
hmm.
Like,
yeah, yeah,
definitely resonates with me a lot.
yeah. Awesome.
Been
That's
hearing
fun.
that book so much. It was recommended by one of my previous guests, who I met, I think, through the Odd Network too. T Nguyen, Go Green Dress. If you've seen
Hmm.
her Instagram, you'll instantly know who she is. She just has a green dress in every single Instagram post on that page, and it's very
She,
meaningful too. It like before you talk to her, you're just like, oh, it's a pretty green dress, and yeah, but she has a deep meaning behind that. I'll let her tell her story. You can watch it on the other podcast. Um, I want to jump around a little bit because I have these questions that I really want to know. In case we run out of time, I'm going to ask them first. So I have kind of seen you reference your parents in some other episodes, what they thought of it at the beginning, and then how about you fast forward to now, like has their views changed of what you're doing? Obviously, what you would imagine the cliche Asian parent would be like, what is you're not this is not being a doctor, you're not an engineer, like what's going
Yeah,
on? So how do they see it now?
they are pretty supportive now. They see it as a real thing. No, they're
Okay.
like, this is a real company. Like,
Yeah.
you are managing something really real.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like in Asian fashion, though, it's like, are you making a lot of money? Are you making any money? Are you still living off your
That's
savings?
that sounds like my
I'm like,
fiance with these podcasts. Like, did you make any money off that podcast? I'm like, God damn it.
so the answer is I'm in a negative cash flow almost every month
Mm-hmm.
for to maintain Asian Hustle Network.
Damn.
I mean, it does suck to see, like, us not generating revenue for AHN, because we haven't really put together any business models yet,
Mm-hmm.
because we're doing from the goodness of our heart to like really benefit the Asian community.
Mm-hmm.
But we quickly realized as we're approaching 2021 that that's not a sustainable model if you want to
Mm-hmm.
stay around forever.
Yeah.
Because what you learn is that passion can only take you so far. For myself, I can probably hold off for another year
Mm-hmm.
before I feel the strain of it.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized that for my younger teammates, my younger team,
Yeah.
that this is an opportunity trade off for them. They're
mm,
spending time focused on Asian Hustle Network, not getting paid,
Yeah.
where they could be working another job and doing another hustle to get paid. That really hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
That hurt me because I couldn't take care of my team.
Yeah.
But we are putting together an advisor team. We just recently incorporated into a C Corp. to really find a business model that makes AHN more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people ask us, why don't we go the nonprofit route? And we feel like through a nonprofit, it's very restrictive
Mm-hmm.
in many ways, and we can't move around as freely as we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also have a nonprofit called Hate is a Virus with
I
two
was
of my
gonna ask you
co-founders.
about that. If you want to talk about that now, sure, let's go right
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
So hate is a virus sort of stemmed from Asian Hustle Network.
Yeah.
So Michelle Hanabusa, my co-founder, posted inside Asian Hustle Network
Mm-hmm.
to support the Asian community during the whole frenzy of like racism against Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that post and I DM'd her. I was like, this is a great idea. We should connect and talk.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And as I was talking to her, I'm like, this needs to become more than just an idea. It needs to become a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
So together with Michelle and Tammy Cho, our third co-founder, we formed this nonprofit to really combat racism and xenophobia that's happening in the Asian community. And the reason why we kept it separate from Asian Hustle Network is because we feel like with the Asian community itself, it's always been really fragmented to begin with. And
Mm.
to have us start taking sides very
Yeah.
politically,
I see. Yeah.
it's really difficult. And it's really difficult to maintain a cohesive culture
Yeah.
with that. So we created a separate branch to just deal with racism and xenophobia and politics and all those things.
That's crazy because one of the things maybe I don't know if I would have asked you this or not, but you answered the question is like, where there's this similar Black Lives Matters movement, and how do you see on dealing with that or partnering with BLM? But I think you've answered that question with the hate is a
We fully
virus.
allied with them
Yeah.
so many different ways. Like we donated to Black-owned businesses before. We
Mm-hmm.
raised money for supporters and people cleaning up after the protest.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know that Asian Hustle Network and Hate the Virus is basically one entity,
Mm-hmm.
and that we do take action for all the quote unquote injustices going on right now.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to admit, wasn't really aware until I started digging and trying to research, preparing for this interview. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like, how do you even have time to eat, sleep, or work out, or hang out with Maggie? I mean, like, dude, the more I find out about you, the more projects you have.
Mm,
Kudos to you for doing these things for the community and
yeah.
for everybody. And man, I had if we run out of time, I want to make sure I ask this question. Why did your dad have such cool hair, man? Like, he's like the same age as my dad, but he's had like cooler hair than I did growing up as a teenager. And maybe I will edit this and put a picture so the kids out there can see what I'm talking about. He had the fade going on when you were a little kid. Why was he so like in the know with, like most dads, they don't care, right?
uh, he has to maintain and impress my mom always.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
he taught you
I don't
well.
know. My dad's always been pretty fashionable for most
Yeah.
of my life.
Yeah.
But he didn't teach me how to dress, so there's a disconnect right now.
And then kind of going back and forth from family, personal to back to business, right? Would you be willing to share like the secrets of growing a large Facebook group? Because I think that might be very interesting for a lot of hustlers out there.
Yeah. To grow our Facebook group, it was a lot of preparation ahead of time. Like we kind of were thinking really big before we founded the Facebook group.
Mm,
Like we had 15 moderators to moderate 50 people in the community, and a lot
mm-hmm,
of people would ask us, "Why do you have so many moderators?" And we're
mm-hmm,
like, "We're gonna grow really fast.
mm,
We're gonna come. We have a market strategy and everything. We're gonna grow really fast, and we need the right
mm,
team in place, so we're not victims of our own success."
mm-hmm.
Ironically, we grew too
You
fast, and
still
it was
grew
even
too
more
fast. Yeah.
than 15 people can handle. It was like, oh
Wow.
crap, you know.
Wow.
So we always thought big, but started small. Everything that we want to do, we make sure we execute it to a really decent level that we
Mm-hmm,
want to present to the community. And on top of that, we realize that community vision can always change with the incoming waves of people that join. Can
mm,
always change our culture.
mm-hmm,
So we made a huge effort to reiterate our culture over and over and over and made a huge emphasis near the very beginning to celebrate all our wins.
Mm.
And the way we saw our wins is not through Facebook posts, like normal Facebook posts with text. We made videos. Like we had a rotation of everyone in the team celebrating our different milestones, telling
Mm.
the community how appreciated we were. And we really were. Like we were super happy the community was growing in the right direction.
Mm.
And the other thing is like we're not really afraid to be transparent.
Mm.
I think most communities out there, transparency is a difficult thing. Like
Mm.
we had situations in the past where there was sexual
Mm.
harassment within the
Mm.
community,
Mm.
and we knew what we stood for.
Mm.
We knew that safety for our members is a really important thing.
Mm.
So instead of hiding it under the rug, we let it blow up in the community.
Mm.
This situation was going on, and this is our stance. We're here to protect you guys, and we're here to support our mission. You
Mm.
know, yeah, that sucked. Like we got a lot of backlash, we got a lot of positive comments from various
Mm.
people, but we stayed true to who we were, and we're not here to create more politics. We're here to eliminate that and uplift
Mm.
each other, and stay uplifting each other no matter
Mm.
what. Um, so on top of that, the way we picked our first 15 moderators were very strategic as well.
Mm.
We had them among different cities around the world. And the
Mm.
reason being is because we wanted to make sure our moderation never stopped when we slept. So
Yeah.
we want
Wow.
moderation to go on 24/7,
Mm.
7 days a week,
Wow.
and we fully planned that out in detail before we created the Facebook group.
Dude, you're too smart for me, man. You just blew my mind. Like,
No.
yeah, like you literally treat the Facebook group like a startup, and you planned it that way, and it's crazy because like who thinks about company culture within a Facebook group, man? Like, who's doing that? I think that's a big wise words of wisdom for anybody trying to start a Facebook group. Like this guy Brian literally treated it like a business, you know. And I want to note, man, I don't know if this is like true from memory. I had made a note that you waited from April until October 2019. So you had the idea in April, and so that's literally 6 months later. Like you planned it out, and you talked about being scared because you're a private guy and having to get over those. Is that true? You literally waited 6 months between idea to actually making the group.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. We did a lot of planning in the meantime, scouting out correct team members they want to
Mm-hmm.
recruit to the team,
Mm-hmm.
pitching them our idea, getting people to join on board, getting excited, having the mission statement ready, and then having a cadence of posts that would roll out after we
Mm-hmm.
hit each milestone,
Mm-hmm.
and a
And
vision of what we want to do.
that's very motivating because it's like you plan the group out almost more than some people plan their actual businesses out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like very well thought out and methodical, which is inspirational to even me with some of the side hustles I might be working on, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna have to thank your better half, Maggie, for this question. And you kind of touched on it with how you selected those moderators, but I was like, man, I want to ask Brian questions that he hasn't maybe fielded before, and she gave me this one. Yeah, you already mentioned a little bit of it, but how do you choose moderators and team members outside of what you already mentioned? Okay, the time zones, but I'm guessing there's other qualities that you look for also.
Yeah, so I look for a culture fit.
Mm-hmm.
I look for people who genuinely want to help other people. So we tend to onboard people who have a really good heart. On top of having a really, really good heart, we know for a fact they're accountable.
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact that they can take a project from start to finish. And we usually search out super connectors.
Mm.
These people know a lot of people
Mm.
because that's the reason why we can build such a diverse ecosystem within Asian Hustle Network
Mm.
because of these original 15 super connectors on the team
Mm.
who not only know a lot of people, but genuinely care about people to
Amazing.
really kick off the culture and maintain
Mm.
it.
Wow.
And are you the originator of that term, super connectors, or is this from some book that I should be reading?
To be honest, super
Yeah.
connector is something I picked up through people saying that I was a super connector. I'm like, what does that
Okay.
even mean? Is it connect four with like super
Yeah.
glue?
Yeah. Wow. And at what point was it from the real estate events that you got that tagline super connector?
No, no, no. It was actually through Asian Hustle Network
Oh,
when I
really?
met
So after that, okay.
other community organizers. They're like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
we're super connectors." I'm like, "These self-proclaimed super connectors are calling me a super connector. I
Yeah.
don't know what the heck that means."
Wow. I mean, like that's like I feel like you mentioned it. I should mention that that's the first time I heard that word. I'm like, should I be aware of this? You know,
Yeah.
what book did I
No,
miss
no
out
worries.
on?
I
Yeah.
never heard of it either until recent.
Wow. Okay, man. I think you gave some really great like secrets. I mean, I say secrets when like this sounds like just like common sense business advice, but if you want to grow the group, take it seriously, treat it like a business in and of its own. And
Mm.
you touched on a lot of them, but still, I want to pose the question. What are some struggles that might not be obvious of building such a large community? And like you already said, well, we grew too fast. That's one of them that I never would have imagined is a problem.
There's a lot of challenges. You realize that you can't keep everyone happy,
Mm,
and that sucks. I mean, it really just sucks when people leave the group because it no longer fits what they're about.
mm,
And
yeah.
we have to keep staying close to our vision, staying close to who we are, and continue providing value to the community. And what I don't think people know is how much time, effort, and planning goes into each event that we roll out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think at one point we were having 4 virtual events a month, and that took a lot of planning, coordination, validation,
Mm,
verification, seeking out the right speakers and whatnot
mm-hmm.
to form these events.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this is through the efforts of all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Because these people actually really care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is a lot of work involved, a lot of thinking, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
planning. It's just like any other company. So it's not just like, oh, we start a Facebook group and just leave
Mm,
it left alone, and
mm,
people join it and it self
mm-hmm.
maintains itself. No, like we get hundreds, if not thousands, of posts a week.
Wow.
Filtering through those posts, making sure that they're still aligned with our vision,
Mm,
and if they're not descriptive enough, how can we offer help to and feedback to community members who take the time to write the post to make sure
mm-hmm.
that they're getting the best attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst thing for us too is approving posts that we know someone put a lot of effort into it and they
Mm,
don't get attention on it
Yeah.
because it doesn't really fit what
mm,
we're about. Like someone would take the time to write about why their business is so important,
yeah.
where the most effective posts out there are ones based upon the business owners or founders themselves.
Yeah.
And that really sucks to me when I read that, or when I like something that doesn't have a lot of attention, that I know for a fact this person spent a lot of time and effort into it.
Mm.
And that's part of the reason why we do reject too, because we get reject with some feedbacks like, hey, can you provide a better story, or
Mm,
these are some tips that we have. Because whether we like it or not, our society is really attached to likes and validation and all
mm-hmm.
these different things. And this actually does hurt people's entrepreneur journey when you don't feel that type of support, that they put out so much effort and no one sees it. And then we also consider that too.
I think that's I mean that's meaningful for me, man, because I'm a writer and I've even had some of those kind of posts rejected and I'm like, "Oh, it hurts your feelings." But I'm also empathetic. I'm like, "Well, I mean, dude, like they got thousands of posts and then like I always learn from not just this rejection, but any rejection in life is telling you something, right? And it's like, well, it got denied for some reason. So in a roundabout way, it's like that's helping me become a better person, better community member. And I think it's a message for everyone. Like, don't get butthurt, man. It's like, look at the moderator's job. He's volunteering and he's got the rules that he has to follow and the vision from the founders that they have to follow. And it's just like, well, try better next time. And that being said, man, like I, after I saw in a different interview, I feel like I know you already before this podcast because I've just seen your interview, right? You said you wanted to be helpful and that was your whole thing. And that really like further lit the fire under me. And I know like, because you were one of like 5 people that liked this post. That's when I went and made this motivational fitness post. Like, you can do it. Just get out, and work out from home. And like, I knew this wasn't gonna be a popular video, and because we know what gets a lot of likes and validations, but you had inspired me to make that video, and it was just like, you know what, if it only gets 5 likes, whatever, it performed about as well as I would expect. But you were one of the people that liked it because I think you understood, like, well, he's just trying to help, and
Yeah.
sometimes, those kind of videos don't get the attention, but if I wasn't already like on that path, like just want to help people now, like you definitely just watching your stuff and knowing you even better now, makes me feel good about my path and doing those kind of things that might not get a lot of attention. But I think we all here kind of believe in a sense of karma. You put out enough good in this world, man. The abundance mentality. Don't feel
Mhm.
like take. If you give, it'll just kind of come back in the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do take the time to read almost everyone's post that
Yeah.
comes in the community.
Damn, must take
And when I actually
forever.
tracked how many posts I read, I was like, dude, I read almost 2 million likes, posts, and comments in the last year.
What? That's like
Yeah.
reading like 1,000 books in and of itself.
I try to, when I meet them in person, I try to recall their story. That's like my biggest thing that I try to do when
Mm.
I meet people. I recognize a name. I mean, I
Mm.
recognize a face, because sometimes I'm like, wait, what's your name again? Oh, I remember that post,
You're gonna need
And it always seems,
yeah, that's crazy.
it always seems to light up their day when that happens. So it's like, I remember that story. And I do take the time to read all the stories as much as I could.
Hmm.
I mean, there's sometimes where my day is just so busy and my brain's fried at night. I'm just like, okay, skim. I think I get the gist of this.
That reminds me of someone we might all be familiar with. Bill Clinton had this amazing memory, and I don't even think he's meeting like 1/100th of the amount of people you're meeting by reading these posts. Bill Clinton had this ability to instantly recall that person's name, but you're remembering their name and their story that they spent an hour writing. That's Have you always had this photographic memory or whatever it is that you draw from?
um, I think it's not a photographic memory, but it's more of a empathy that I
Yeah.
feel for people.
So if the
It's
post feels something, you can draw back on that, how that person maybe made you feel, and then remember the story that way.
yeah, yeah. I think it's also when Peter reached out to me too, and then Peter's like, "I'm surprised you responded."
Yeah.
And I told Peter that mostly anyone who reached out to me with really good intentions, I will take the time to respond. You
Wow.
know, I may not respond immediately because I'm like, oh god, so many damn meetings,
Yeah.
but I'll try to take out to respond. As long as like I feel like the intention is great, and the question is great, I'll
Mm,
respond. And if
my,
the people
yeah.
come to me like, hey man, you want to sell this product? I'm like, I don't want to respond to that.
Damn. Well, I'm gonna move to my conclusion question since we're at the hour, and that's about how long I keep things, and I know that's what the time you had budgeted, so I'm gonna skip a lot of the questions. I'm glad that I was able to move. I always wonder, like, how the hell did I make it through an hour? I'm an introvert. I don't like talking. Hate small talk, but yeah, I mean, part of it is having a great guest that knows how to fill the dead space time, so I don't have to talk. So let's move to the conclusion questions. What advice do you have for any startup hustlers if we haven't already covered a million things that they could be doing?
The advice is, keep going,
Keep
roll
going.
with the blows. As long as you have a strong conviction of what you're doing, it's going to change the world. That's the right path for you.
Mm-hmm.
The universe finds ways to help you reach your goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Love it.
when you vocally feel a strong way and express it to other people, people are very inclined to help you reach those goals.
Mm. Mm.
And that's kind of the way the universe just works. As
Mm.
long as you believe it, you feel it, you're doing anything you can to get there, the momentum will slowly swing to your side, and
Mm.
this crazy dream that you have will become more realistic every day.
Mm. I love it. And is
Yeah.
there anything in the on pipeline that you might want to talk about or get us excited about? This is coming.
Sure. So we are rolling out officially in January our membership model, and it's going to be pretty substantial rollout.
Mm.
It's going to come with a free directory where members can actually find each other now
Mm.
and look at where they're from, different industries, reach out to each other. And we're going to come up with a verify system
Mm.
where, people with the blue checks next to their name have been verified by AHN. And we want to give more creative freedom to our members to host these virtual events, host anything that they feel that they're expert in. It could be mental health, it could be accounting, it could be engineering, it could be anything, it could be hiking. As long as like we can verify that you are a very dependable person and we trust you, we'll give you the power to host these events. And we do have a lot of people waiting in the pipeline for our marketplace. I think we have over 120 in the pipeline right now.
What? I was just on there. I saw already like I don't know 20 or 30. Dang. And that's work, right? You vetting these things, making sure they're like you actually like drink the product, make sure it's like a real thing. Who's the guinea pig? Is it you or Maggie or somebody else?
It's Maggie.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay, so there is a marketplace, guys. If you want to support some of these Asian-owned small business owners, you go to the AsianHustleNetwork.com. It is in the marketplace up there, right?
Yep.
So I do know that you guys have a Patreon. Is that still active and available
Yeah,
if people want
it's
to
still very
support?
active. That's how we pay for most of our bills.
Yeah. So yeah, if you do want to support, if you can't support in any other way by generating content on the Facebook page, there's an easy way to go support. And I did want to ask, outside of money, man, how can people help out with their time, or what can they offer to help you with your vision and your mission?
Definitely. Just by you guys reading people's story in the community, commenting on their posts, keeping everything positive, supporting them. That not only does AHN a huge favor and myself a huge favor, it does the world a huge favor. Because you never know what impact someone can make just by a simple, nice gesture.
And it reminds me of Gary V. He's always like, be kind, be kind. I feel like you're like the Asian Gary V in a way.
I'm like the beer version of him. He sells wine. I drink beer.
Nice. And then I don't know if the audience saw, what's your favorite beer? What are you drinking there today?
I'm drinking a Stone IPA. I don't know what the label is.
And my green screen knocks it out. What? Or is that your green screen? No, that's yours. So
Anyways,
Stone IPA. I have one or two last questions before I let everyone bounce out of here. All right.
Sure.
So I was very like touched by you. Well, you're very like you've become like that vulnerable person where you were like that private. I don't want anybody to know what's going on in my life, and yeah, I mean, you got over that hump in the last year, right? And you've been posting like your family, your mom, and your dad. And then the post I want to ask you about is your co-founder Maggie's also your girlfriend, and that was very touching. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I could go into business with my fiance now. But how long have you guys been together?
It's been about 3 years now.
3 years?
And we're moving on to our 4th year next year.
Oh, fourth year. All right. Well, and I'm gonna go ahead and roll my outro music. All right. So that means we got like a minute left to just chit chat or whatever. I don't know if you know this, but me and my now fiance, so 7 year, I proposed to her on Thanksgiving.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And you're hitting that 4 year mark, man. When is the ring coming, brother? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm gonna do Maggie a favor because she's helped me out.
It's coming. I'm running out of time too because I make sure I can still be a hip dad.
Yeah, man. Well, we got I'm gonna let that outro music run for 20 seconds. Thank you for being vulnerable, Bryan. I know for you and me both, man, that's not a normal thing. Your group has really helped me in more ways than I can mention on this show. So thank you, Peter, for everything. Peter has met everyone through on, and that's a wrap.
Yeah, thank you too for having me on the show. It was lots of fun. Peter, thank you for reaching out to me. Like I said, you have any questions or need anyone to talk to, just reach out to me anytime. I think I said that in the group chat before.